So I will start by introducing myself. My name is Damaris Choti. I'm the coordinator of student and alumni programs here at Michigan State University. And I do facilitate the tea time events on behalf of the center. And today, just to mention, is our last event for the semester. And we're happy to have you here. You know, it's a busy time. Good thing, we have this session recorded and it's going to be uploaded to the African Studies Center YouTube channel for those who were not able to make it today to be able to view. So today's talk is going to focus on two countries, that's Kenya and Nigeria. And the discussion is going to highlight on two funded projects that through Michigan State University's network for global and civic engagement in the Residential College in Arts and Humanities. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to be able to participate in community development. And the theme for the discussion today is going to be international partnerships for community development, lessons learned from collaborative projects in Kenya and Tanzania. So there will be two presentations led by two partners from Kenya and two partners that partnered in those separate projects in Kenya and Tanzania. And myself, I'm going to serve as a facilitator and a co-presenter today. Myself and Lilo Adano, my colleague, will be discussing on the project that we did in Kenya, and that we titled Food Security and Women Economic Empowerment, Promoting Agro-Pastoralism Among the Borana of Kenya. And the two Jonathans, Jonathan Kivuyo and Jonathan Choti, will be talking about the project that they co-led in Tanzania, entitled Combating Food Insecurity in Naitoli, a village of northern Tanzania. So as we do it typically at tea time, we'll have both presentations. We'll have myself and Lelo go first, and then Jonathan will go next. And after both talks, we'll have a QA or a discussion comment session, and we'll close it up after the discussion. So as I wait for my colleague to come, I will start the presentation. And let me share my screen. Share. I believe it's shared, right? It's shared. Okay, let me do the big screen. Where is that at? Oh, wow. I'm trying to make, is it a slideshow already, you think? In the way it's shared? Anyway, so I will begin. So our discussion or the project is food security and women economic empowerment, promoting agro-pastoralism among the Borana of Kenya. And as I said already, this project was sponsored, and we're very grateful for that support by the Network for Global Engagement, Global and Civic Engagement, a network that's under the Residential College in Arts and Humanities here at Michigan State University. The two partners that worked on this project is myself, Damaris Choti. I already introduced myself. And then we have Ms. Lelo Adano, who is a community lead in the Kayo Waka Women Self-Help Group in Isiolo County of Kenya. So moving on, goodness. Okay. So I wanted to briefly mention about how did we meet? How did Lelo, Adano, and I meet? So we already have a picture of Lelo here, even if she's not in the call yet. Lelo and myself met here at Michigan State University in 2019 when Lelo attended a professional fellows program that is sponsored by the US Department of State. that was hosted by our sister unit here at MSU that is called Alliance for African Partnership. So Lilo was one of the participants in that group. And once the fellows are here, it's an annual program. So once the fellows are here, I usually lead a session on developing sustainable networks or building sustainable networks. So I had that discussion with the members of the group. And once we were done with that session, I remember Lilo coming down to my office. The session was in the same building. And we continued the conversation there. She told me about the work that she was doing in our community, just getting to know one another more, about the small projects that she was doing with women. And I remember that time she was doing some projects around dairy farming. Was it dairy farming? I remember mostly, yeah, like, what else? I mean, it was things to do with small support for women in our community. And being a person that is very interested in women empowerment myself and women support, I was very fascinated about the work that Lilo was doing. At that time, you know, we didn't have any other opportunities here at MSU, and we never even talked more about how else can we connect in the future, but it was just good to know what she does. I shared about my interests in women empowerment and women support, women leadership, women mentorship. And that ended, but then we kept in touch. I kept asking about how she's doing, how our project with the community is doing. And later on, when this funding opportunity was advertised or what was shared through the MSU networks, the first person that I remembered was Lily. And I said, this really funding opportunity will suit the work that Lilo does. And that's really how I contacted her, shared about the call. She looked at it, shared with her community as well, the part of the women that she was working with. And we ended up doing a proposal together, and we were funded for this project. So that's briefly about how we met. And then a little bit about the Borana community, because this project was located in Isiolo County of Kenya. This is the map of Kenya. The yellow is the Isiolo County, and the Borana community, most of them, not most of them, like a large population of the Borana live in Isiolo community, and these neighboring counties, Marsabit, Wajir, mostly the northern part of Kenya. But our project was based in Isiolo County, and that's where Lelu comes from. So this community, as I said, resides in northern Kenya, but there's another population that is in southern Ethiopia. You can imagine Ethiopia is our neighboring country here. So it's kind of a segment of them, a bigger even segment is in Ethiopia, southern part of Ethiopia. And traditionally, they're nomadic pastoralists, and their diet is majorly meat and milk. And then the main language is Borana within the Borana community. And in terms of religion, over 90% of the population is Muslim. And so though the pastoralists, as I've already mentioned, but nowadays they've started integrating small-scale farming, where they plant mainly vegetables and some for household use majorly. So why did we decide that this was the project that we were going to propose to undertake? One, as I already mentioned again, it's because both myself and my partner Lelo were already passionate about community development, especially women empowerment. So when we saw this opportunity, our bigger picture was to, of course, support the whole community that my partner comes from, but also especially focus more on the economic empowerment side of the women. And also there have been in the recent past, there has been persistent drought in the region, the whole northern part of Kenya region, including Isiolo County, where the Borana community is based. And that has led to the scarcity in water and pasture in the region. And in fact, the photo that I have here was sent by Lilo, as we were talking about the project, she already told me, like, currently as we speak, a lot of livestock, a lot of cattle is dying because of the drought. And then the malnutrition levels were also increasing, or are still a huge issue in that part, of course, because of the drought. And then, so the community, given all those challenges, had decided to pursue agro-pastoralism as another source of their livelihoods. So a project came in a timely manner, because already the county government has seen this as an issue, and they had supported, they'd introduced, let's say, some small-scale farming or gardening in the community. So our project then was meant to scale up what the initiative that the county government had started. And also another big part of this project, and this, when I was discussing more about what Lilo or our partners in the community think about this whole project, how is it going to be beneficial, another big part of it that came out is that it's going to promote the education of children, because in the nomadic communities, families, traditionally families all together, fathers, mothers, children, move along in search of greener pastures. But then with this introduction of agropastoralism, there was more permanency. The families would settle in one place because they are doing some type of agriculture there. And mostly it's the women who will be staying behind. But in that way, there will be, even for when the government is trying to improve the education, like kind of the infrastructure for education, at least there's more settlement, there's more permanency that would lead to progress in terms of building the schools and even operation of the schools. And another question is then, Kayo work, in fact, it's myself and Lilo were the lead partners of this project, but we worked with Kayo Worker Women Group. It's a self-help group of women that is based within the Borana community. And we thought, not that we thought, in fact, I should say, when we were still in the discussion phase, I asked Lilo, how do you think we're going to work on especially identifying the families then that we're going to work with to support? And Lilo told me that we have the Kayo Worker Women Group. So because in our proposal, we really wanted to find a way of also supporting the entire community, yes, but also supporting the women especially. We understood that Kayo Worker, being a women group, is already, and we know that women typically in African communities, including the Borana, are in charge of providing food for the family. So Kayo Worker became a good community partner because it's comprised of women, and women who are established in a way. And as we've already mentioned, women stay home while men go out in search for pastures, which means that if we were to establish a more sustainable program or project, it had to work with women, because typically they're the ones that will be staying behind when men leave, and women and older boys. And also it was already established, it was doing some peer support within among the women in the community. So we thought this would be a great partner for our program, for our project, sorry. And then just to mention, this project was community-led, and I love the way that the NGCE has already established a project within the Residential College of Arts and Humanities that is called the Radical Reciprocity Project. And what this does, and I really got this from their website, the first part of it, is what ourselves as partners in this project were very conscious about the radical reciprocity. And what that is that type of intentionality in including marginalized communities. It kind of, especially in university or in higher education institutions, partnership with communities, it's the radical reciprocity idea brings the marginalized communities to the forefront, and not just bringing them, but also working with them or engaging with them in an approach that is more in the co-creation, where the communities serve as experts and co-producers of knowledge. You know, for the most part, or sometimes I would say, in these types of partnerships between communities and higher education institutions, there is always kind of unidirectional flow of knowledge. The institutions feel like they're going to bring the information to the communities, but what Radical Reciprocity does is to put the communities at the center. In fact, in our project, the community took the lead in this role. We started with asking them, do you think this is going to be the best projects for you if you were to be funded, even before you got the funding? And also, we knew they already had their expertise. As I said, the local government had already worked with them, gave them some skills in this area. So we used that expertise because they know their environment more, and we worked with them in a way that was building on whatever they already knew in terms of the crops that will do well in that region and all other things. So I just wanted to put this, kind of reinforce the fact that when the projects or partnerships are community-led, there's some intentionality that needs to happen. And as I said, I love the way NGCE has made it really clear and intentional about what they want to promote in these types of engagements or partnerships. Next, it's going to be project activities, and I'm very glad to see that Lelo has joined us. Lelo, please welcome, and Lelo will take over from here.
Thank you, Damaris. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Thank you very much. My name is Lelo Adano from the Borana community, and I'm the leader of this project. Thank you for inviting me. The project activity is training on farm practices suitable for the area, because in our area we don't have much rainfall, so we have to look for ways that is water conservant tip that we can use so that the plant can be healthy and we can grow the plant. So the activities that we did is, first we came with the economic empowerment workshop for the women, knowing that women are our backbones, because when men go out for looking for pasture and water, women are left to do most of the work. So we targeted women. So, and then the building gardens and planting, we choose the Zypit. Zypit is one of the most common used techniques that is used in dry areas. So in Zypit, we use 1 feet, you dig and you dig all like rectangular one, then you dig 1 feet, then you put materials like grass, green grass, or kitchen waste in it. Then the topsoil, you mix it with the manure, then you pour it in the pit. Now you will be able to conserve water, because if you put water, the mulching and the manure holds water, so the durability of water being staying there is high, and due to a lot of sun, there is evaporation, so we do mulching. That is Zypit. Then we do also the kitchen garden. This is mostly done. It's growth of vegetables just around the kitchen. That's why it's called kitchen garden, and it's very accessible, and that's why we do the kitchen garden, so that when women are at home, they just don't wait for vegetables outside, because most of the vegetables from most of the vegetables that we use usually come from Isiolo. So now that we have established our own kitchen garden, it's easier for us to access it. And then we have the vertical sack. The vertical sacks, we filled it with a mixture of soil and also manure, because as I said earlier, manure holds water. So like manure for cows holds a lot of water. If you use that manure, we use the mature manure, which is matured. So we use that, and then when we make the vertical sacks, we put in the middle, we put stone. So the stone is for watering and the dispersion of water around the crops that is planted there. Then we also dig the compost pit for homemade manure. So we just we dug a small hole. Then you put all the chicken waste, cow waste, kitchen waste, all of it. Then you cover it with soil, and then after 2 weeks you turn it. You make another hole again. You transfer it to the other hole. Then after another 2 weeks you do the same. Now after after every 2 weeks you turn the manure. Then you will know it when it's ready. It's become dark, and the particles are small like that of soil.
Next.
These are the activities that we had. We distributed the farm tools to the Kaya Worker Self-Help Women Group. We also have a gentleman around here. If you see that picture, he was just passing by, then he was interested. He was like, hey, why is these women standing around here? So he just came and was wanted to see what was happening. Then in the next picture, we were doing the nursery establishment. We were doing the nursery establishment of the crop so that we can transplant it. As you see behind the gentleman, we have already established the vertical kitchen garden behind him. So we were doing the establishment of the nursery bed so that we can transfer it later to the vertical bag.
Next, did we do this?
Yes, we did this. This is we were watering the earlier planted the earlier established nursery beds. So I was showing them how to plant, how to water it using water cans. Then the other, sorry, no, there's another one here. Yeah, no, there's another one. I can't see the picture. There's another one. We were the nursery was the plant has already grown. The nursery bed that we established, yes, the nursery bed that we established was it was already grown. So we did transfer it to the next slide. Damaris.
It's not this one?
Yeah, it's this one. I've already explained this one. So this one is how you water the vertical bed. The stone that I told you about is here. As you build it, you just put a jar can in it, then you shake it until you come up with the stone up here. So you just water around here in the stones, so the stones will disperse the water. Then at the top you water it and plant some other plant. This is the transplanted kitchen garden. The next one is the transplanted kitchen garden, the vertical bags.
Okay.
Yes.
Next, should I go on?
Yes.
Okay.
The project outcome. We supported 22 families with the construction of the gardens, and we established the gardens for the continuity use. So when we started establishing this chain garden, people were interested. They were very happy to see planting plant in a sack. It was kind of surprising, but they were willing. They are willing to see what is the outcome. So we train the community members and extend skills to other members. So we train the 22 families so that they can extend the skills that we train them. And then we have, as I already shown you, the MSU provided us with the tools. So the tools are available. So if you need the tool, you just come and ask the officials of the Kaiwaka, and they assist you so that you can establish another farm, another garden. Then mostly the Borana communities consume meat and milk. So the rate of malnutrition is very high among the community. So coming up with vegetables will help them improve their health, and also it will curb the malnutrition level. Then the other members now, when they saw these people are harvesting, are getting something from the vertical kitchen garden and the kitchen garden, so their interest started to grow. So they wanted to be part of it. So everyone wanted to be part of it because it is beneficial to them. And when they harvest, when the surplus they harvest more, they sell it to the community, because as I've earlier said, we get the vegetables from Isiolo. So now when you get it near your household or your village, you just feel happy and just go for it. So it's like it's a kind of an opportunity also. When they grow a lot of vegetables, they will have a lot of money to pay some small household needs. And even when they put it like when they save it, like that one of merry-go-round or table banking, they will just have to pay the school fees for the children. Then they have to buy other food stuffs. Then the project, the success of the project has paved way for the other community members to be involved in such program in future. So sponsors who are willing to sponsor them, so that they can also be part of it. They can also get something from them. They can get something beneficial from them, like selling the vegetables, getting it ready without them buying, just taking care of it. And the taking caring part is just it's something that doesn't even consume their time. So after we planted we planted the kales and the grandmother is harvesting the coriander, and then there is kales down there. So we planted the coriander around the vertical bag because it reacts as a repellent. The pest that affects the kales doesn't like the smell of the coriander. So we planted it for pest management and also healthy crop. They are also harvesting the carrots, the one with the orange dress has the carrot and the onions on her hands, if you see clearly, and then they are harvesting the tomatoes also. And down there, if you see, it's just the same.
Hello? Is my internet breaking? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Damaris.
Oh, maybe it's Lelo's internet then. She was almost concluding here. Lelo, can you hear us? All right, perhaps I'll continue, and when she comes back, she can uh, uh, finish up. So these are just pictures on the outcomes, the harvest especially. I think she dropped. I think.
Sorry, my network was
Okay.
my network was disturbing.
All right.
So
Continue.
I was explaining about the outcomes. And you see the spinach and the kales down there. We harvested it just from one vertical bag, because one vertical bag can contain 100, around 120 plants. So if you plant 120, they have so when they grow, they have the leaves are more. So we harvested that kales and the spinach. We just harvested from one vertical bag. Then we have the tomatoes. The tomatoes also do well in our place. This was the tomato which was harvested in a large scale farm around the it's water, it's rain fed. This one is rain fed. We don't have enough water to plant that, but for the kitchen garden we can do it well because we have minimal water. Lesson learned on university community partnership. A community ownership leads to sustainability. Yes, these people have accepted that this kitchen garden practice and vertical bed practice are their own. They just say it's theirs because now they are getting benefit from it. In that they are willing, others are willing, and the ones who are doing are taking care of it, so they own the project. The project was successful in part due to the community membership feeling invested and actively participating in the process, that their engagement and partnership was important. Yeah, their engagement was very important. We just told them we want to do the kitchen garden for them, then they just accepted it and they said, okay, it's okay, let's try. They are willing to do it. The partnership fosters manual learning and trust building. Yes, we were us and other county staffs are part of the trainers, so they trust us because we are part of the community, so they trust we gain their trust. The community ownership leads to sustainability. Yes, the project is still on. Now they are harvesting, and they because we train them, they put everything in the nursery bed. Now we didn't buy for them. At first we gave them seed, now they are buying for themselves. We learned that scaling up from such small project was essential in transforming the community to sustainable farming in future. Yes, from that from the project they learned that if we held their hands just to show them the way they can do it even in future, and they can do it in a large scale farm. When they get, maybe we support them with boreholes, they can be able to do it even in bigger farms. Through the partnership with MSU, we learned the importance of collaborating with large networks as they can provide support, resource, and expertise. Yes, we got some of the expertise who have the more knowledge from other parts. And then we got the ones from the counties, I included. Then we train the community. So the only thing they need is the assistance and also capacity building for the community. We also witnessed dominion effect where the success of the garden project led to a greater interest in other form of agriculture by community members. They are ready to embrace farming as one of the livelihood. Now they are willing to become agropastoralists. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lelo, for all the details about the project. As somebody who was on the ground when this project was being implemented, we will keep our questions. Perhaps somebody has a question or a comment. We'll want to move on and give the opportunity for Jonathan Choti and Jonathan Kivuyo to do the presentation. I want to stop sharing here, and then we can do the QA or discussion session. Did you want me to share your PowerPoint or give you powers to share?
You share it.
Jonathan, do you want to share?
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Let me make you co-host then, Jonathan.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, and we look forward to your talk.
So as Jonathan gets ready with the document, I want to introduce ourselves and then introduce our project, then we will move on. So my name is Jonathan Choti. I am Associate Professor in the Department of Linguistics, Languages, and Cultures at MSU. Jonathan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. My name is Jonathan Simon Kivuyo. I'm working with Tanzania Partnership Program as a village-based program officer. So I think that's it. Should I say something about the partnership?
That's
Okay,
on. Let's go to
you.
the next slide. Let's go to the first slide.
Okay.
The first one, the very first one, the title.
Okay.
Yeah, so our project was focused on improving food security in Naitolia village, which is found in northern Tanzania. It was sponsored by the 2022 NGCE grant project by the Residential College of Arts and Humanities at MSU. So the partners were myself. We have Mary Malekela from University of Dar es Salaam and Jonathan Kivuyo from the same institution. And the community where the project took place is Naitolia village. Next, Jonathan. So we shall give a background of the project, introduce the partners, briefly introduce the community, Naitolia, and then the grant. Then we look at project activities, project outcomes, and then conclude. Next, Jonathan. So at MSU, we have a unit by the name International Studies and Programs. And within that unit, we have a partnership at Michigan State called Tanzania Partnership Program. It includes MSU, the University of Dar es Salaam, Sokoine University of Agriculture, Milola Village in southern Tanzania, and Naitolia Village. So those are the members of the partnership. And the TPP initiated their first, TPP actually is the first initiative of ISP's partnerships for sustainable community development. And it started work in Milola and Naitolia in 2008. They also, TPP sponsored a 6-week summer education abroad program called Sustainable Community Development in Tanzania in 2013. I have been directing this program since 2015, and that's how I came to know Naitolia Village and then connect with Jonathan and Mary Malekela. So Naitolia Village is the site for our education abroad program. Next, Jonathan. So the partners I said, Mary is from the University of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Currently, she's the in-country program officer of TPP. And I just introduced myself. And as Jonathan said, is the TPP village-based officer in Naitolia Village. And Naitolia Village is found in Monduli District, Northern Tanzania. Next. So those are the partners. On the top left, we see a gentleman and a lady. Those are the gentleman is the chairperson of the village of Naitolia, and the lady to his right is works in the office. Then we see Jonathan at the top, and below is Mary Marekela to my left, to my right. Next, Jonathan. Let's talk about Naitolia briefly. Jonathan will take over. Next slide, Jonathan. Yeah, Jonathan will talk about Naitolia. He's the one who implemented the program. Actually, is going to take most of the, share most of the information from these slides. And I have another meeting coming up very soon. I might have to exit early. Jonathan, take over, please. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mwalimu. So I will proceed. So as you can see on your screens, that is the map of Tanzania on my left. And on the right, it's the provinces, or we can say the districts in Arusha region. So Arusha region is a big region, and we have districts within the regions. So we have Monduli district, we have Ngorongoro, Karatu, Meru, and Arusha. So Naitolia is within Monduli district. It is a village, one of the 62 villages in Monduli district. So the village lies in the management area or in a wildlife corridor. So we have this wildlife corridor that stretches from the southern plains of Simanjiro Plains, and it goes all the way to Tarangire National Park, then through Naitolia to Lake Manyara National Park, to Ngorongoro Conservation Area, then all the way to Serengeti National Park, all the way to Masai Mara and Amboseli National Park. So the village lies in this very vibrant wildlife corridor. And the community, mostly the community members are agro-pastoralists, and the population is around 2,464 currently. This is according to the national census that was done in 2022. And we have mostly 4 ethnic groups or tribes in the community. So we have the Ma or the Maasai. Then we have Warusha, so it's a dialect from the Maasai. Then we have the Iraku, and we have the Barbaig. And the village area is around 178 square kilometers. And because of, in the northern part of Tanzania, especially Naitolia and Monduli district in general, the district lies in leeward side of Mount Meru. So we usually face extensive, lengthy drought seasons, and we usually have only one raining season. So the condition most of the time results to food insecurity and contributes to malnutrition. So I will take you through the social organization of the Ma. So in the Maasai, or in the Naitolia communities, we have mostly the Ma. So the Ma have 7 peer groups, and the peer groups are formed, this is mostly to men, based on the time when these men were circumcised. And these circumcision ceremonies usually give a break of 7 years. So it is usually done after 7 years, then it takes a 7 years break. Then we have another ceremonies of circumcision. So currently we have the oldest peer group of men. They are called Nyangusi. And these were circumcised between 1941 and 1948. Then we have the Seuri that were circumcised between 1955 and 1962. Then we have the Makah that were circumcised between 1969 and 1976. Then we have Landiisi that were circumcised between 1983 and 1990. Then we have the Korianga, who were circumcised between 1997 and 2002. And we have the Nyangulo, who are the recent circumcised youth that were circumcised between 2010 and 2016. And we have the young boys or men who are not circumcised. Their peer group is called Layoni. So the family structure of Maasai. So as you can see, as shown in the picture, we usually have, or in the community, the Ma usually have a compound that is kind of a cycle. So you can see like 4 houses within the cycle. So the Ma mostly are polygamous. So they do marry more than one wife. So from the picture you see here, it's just like a demonstration. So we have one house where the men or the lead of the household stays. Then the other households belong to the women, to the wives. So from the picture that you can see on your screen, we see 4 households. That means we have one man having 3 wives. And at the center of the compound, you can see some small cycles and like a pentagon. So these are the livestock shed. So they usually do separate grown cattle, calves, and goats. So one portion is resided for cattle, the other one is resided for calves, and the smaller portions is resided for goats and sheep. And the number of women that a man can marry in the Maasai community mostly depends on his wealth. And the higher the wealth, obviously, the more the women, if he likes to. So we go to food and cuisine. So Ma mostly eat meat, milk, and blood. But back then, in the Ma community, especially the Ma, they didn't eat fish, they didn't eat chicken, they didn't eat eggs or vegetables. But things are now changing. And we have, now in the community, Ma do take these food like chicken, vegetables up as part of their meals. And also, traditionally, the Maasais do have these ceremonies called Orpul. So Orpul is a time of the year when Maasai mobilize themselves. This goes to the family level. They mobilize themselves and they go into the bushes and they take medicine called Orpul. So they slaughter maybe a goat or a cattle, and then they boil the meat together with mixing the natural herbs. And this is usually done once a year. And the wealthy families can do twice a year or thrice, but most of the time it is usually done once. So you can see the first picture on your left. So you can see some markings from a tree. So when these families go into Orpul, they don't have calendars. They don't have, digital calendars or analog calendars. So they use trees to mark the number of days that they've spent in the bushes. So the bigger the number of markings, the bigger the number of days that they've spent in the bushes. So the center picture, you can see that is a traditional dessert or meal called loshoro. So it's a mixture of corn and milk. And it is usually most taken in the community. And the last picture on your right, you can see a lady in the community holding one of a bunch of harvested vegetables from one of the gardens that we implemented in the community. So when we come to dressing, we have the traditional dressing. So the Maasais put in the Maasai shuka, and most of the time you will find them red and green or blue. And there is where they got the name, the Red Maasai. But because of, the changes in culture, you can see some of the men are dressed according to, like normal people. I can say, like, you can see them wearing trousers, jackets, and things like that. So culture is changing and people are changing, but the Ma community is one of the community that is extremely resistant to changes. You'll find very educated Ma sometimes putting on their traditional clothes as part of their traditions. So they really do like their tradition. So the same applies to women. You can see the women dressing styles. You can see the shukas for women, but also you can see other women dressing like how the current world is going. And religion-wise, we have mostly 3 religions in the community. So we have Christians that that take almost 55% of community members of the village. Then we have community members that worship on trees, and they call it Enkai. Enkai is a Ma language that means God. So some of the Maasai can worship trees. Some of Ma can worship mountains. I believe you have heard about a mountain called Oldonyo Lengai. So that translates to mountain of God. So they find a figure that they can worship and they can relate it to their natural environment, like the physical thing that they believe it is the source of life, it is the source of them being alive. And we have 10% who are Muslims that occupy the village. So recent developments in the community. So before there were a lot of cases of female initiation or female genital mutilation. This practice has been going down very well. It is actually being highly controlled by the government together with other non-government organizations. So the community now is highly aware of the effects of female initiation or FGM. And the community is now awake in going against these practices. Other practices that were common in the village were early marriages. So there were children, young girls, who were married while still at school at very young age, but this is now going very down. The cases are now kind of disappearing thanks to the efforts from the government and other non-governmental organizations. And another thing, the Maasai didn't give that consideration to formal education, like the schools, going to universities and things like that. But now things are changing. We have schools in the community and children are going to school. And actually the government is enforced some very strict laws that push people to take their kids to school. And they are now seeing the benefits of taking their children to school. We have children that, Maasai children that have gone all the way high to university education. And some of them have been employed in public sectors. So they can actually vividly see the importance of education. Another thing is contributing food for school feeding programs and constructing of classes. So as I mentioned in the previous point, before Maasai, the Maasai communities, Maasais in their communities didn't prioritize formal education. But now this is highly changing. And now in the community, for instance, community members put a lot of efforts in contributing to education-related activities, including constructing classes, contributing food for school feeding program, and other activities, maintaining the school infrastructures and things like that. And next, we'll go to social and economic activities. And in this section, we are going to see what brings the community members together. So some of the things that bring the community members together is circumcision, male circumcision, actually. So these are usually big ceremonies, big ceremonies where they slaughter livestock and they eat meat, they celebrate, and this actually creates a very strong bond among them. And other things, ceremonies that bring them together is wedding celebrations. So when there occurs that someone is getting married, it becomes a big thing in the community, and this unites the community members even further. And other things, we have funerals or death of a community member. This is one of the sensitive things that bring community members together. So I think Mwalimu Choti can also comment on this. When it comes to funerals in the community, all the activities get halted. everything. Mwalimu Choti has experienced this when he came with study abroad students, and I think he has experienced it even before. So in 2022, we had to, to postpone a group activity that was to be performed by a group of study abroad students for a week, because we had death of a community member. And this is one of the most sensitive things. It brings community members together. So another thing is household construction, the design. As you saw in the previous slide, maybe earlier slides, you could see the Maasai communities and the Psycho compound and things like that. So most of the houses are round in shape, and some of them are square in shape, but mostly they are round in shape. And these houses are constructed using cow dung, mud, and ashes mixed with water. And to thatch the houses to prevent leakages, they use grasses. And most of the time they use kangaroo grasses. We call these Themeda triandra. So they do timely maintain these their roofs to prevent leakages during rain. And to reinforce their house, they use poles, and they get these poles from acacia trees and other species of trees such as African blackwood. And they use this to reinforce their walls and things like that. And when it comes to construction, men usually do collect the poles and establish the poles. And it is the job for the women now to come and thatch the house, make the mud, and, make the walls using cow dung, water, together with sand. And when it comes to gender roles, we have men. So men, particularly men, are headsmen and security warriors of the community, and they are also leaders of the households. And women do most of the domestic activities. They take care of the children, gather and prepare food, fetch firewood and water. But things are now changing. So most of the in the Maasai communities have mostly been male-dominated communities. So before, we didn't have women who were leaders in the community, but things are now changing. So we do have women who are sub-village leaders, and we believe in the future we could have village leaders who are women. So this is one of the movement that is currently happening in the communities. And when it comes to unified roles, both men and women do cultivate crops. So men will do the preparation of the farm, and women will do most of the tilling and weeding. And we go to economic activities. As I've mentioned before, men, most of them are headsmen. So in the first picture on your left, these are cattle that are going out of a cattle dip. So this is one of the activity that Tanzania Partnership Program is doing, improving community health. And when we talk about community health, it's One Health. Community, we're talking about people, land, and of course, livestock, and all the way. It includes all this all the way to cultivation. So with most of the livestock kept in the Maasai community are cattle, we have goats, we have donkeys, sheep, and chicken. And when it comes to crop cultivation, most of the crops grown in the community is maize, beans, we have cowpeas and mung beans, we have pigeon pea, but also in the community, they do cultivate cash crops. For example, the lablab beans and sunflower. Most of these are cultivated and sold for money, and they could use the money to do other activities. Also in the community, people do trading. So they buy and sell food and non-food items. So in the first picture on your left, you can see a woman from Naitolia actually getting her Dolichos lablab. This is one of the cash crops from the community, getting ready her harvest, ready for selling in the market. And the picture on your right, you can see women actually going to, so what happens there is that during market days, people bring their commodities. Someone might bring chicken, someone might bring eggs, someone might bring corn. So it depends on your speed and your sharpness. Before that person gets to the market, you have to be sharp and go and get the commodity to be sold. So you can see this picture, actually everyone going for bidding. The one who will have the best price will actually get the commodity ready for sale in the market. So other activities done is poultry and beekeeping. And we have tourism. Some of community members are employed in the tourism sector. And we'll go direct to Network for Global Civic Engagement project. So in this project, the main objective was to promote drought-resistant perennial vegetables, mostly chaya. And another objective was to train the community members on how to construct the gardens and also construct gardens in 11 households and build water retention points. So we call them hafirs with a capacity of holding 10,000 liters of water. So the project activities. So in the first top picture on your right, this is a group of study abroad students from MSU. And you can see Mwalim Choti on the far left. After accomplishing one of a chicken coop that was fully constructed by the students from MSU in collaboration with students from Tanzania. And another picture on your top right, you can see the group students taking a group picture together with community members who were benefited by the chicken coop project. And on the bottom left, that's me taking measurements of one of the affairs. And the last picture, bottom right, that's me giving insights to study abroad students and students from Tanzania universities on what TPP is doing in the community. So these pictures project the activities done after receiving the funds from Network for Global Civic Engagement. So these show some of the community members preparing the affairs. So when the grant was received, it was a partnership thing. So community members who were benefited by the grant had to do the part of the activities, and then the funds were going to facilitate with other things like the material mostly. So on the top left, you can see one of the community members digging a trench ready to establish a fair. Likewise, you can see the other one on the top right that is almost done. And you can see one of a community member together with his wife after accomplishing their affair. And on the bottom right, you can see one of the accomplished affairs. So you can see the continuation of activities and establishment of vegetable gardens. And on the top line, so in the community, the Naitoria communities, the community has a rock bed. So when you dig a few meters down, you find yourself dealing with very hard rocks. But community members were highly motivated, and they participated fully. They did the job. All this was done by the community members. And another picture on the top right, you can see one of the accomplished hafir getting filled with water. And the two pictures at the bottom, you can see community members installing the liner. After this was purchased using the funds from the Network for Global Civic Engagement. And you can see both families installing their affairs. Actually, they were shown how to install the affair, maintaining it, making sure that it stays in a good shape. And this is a continuation of pictures. Now we go to the outcomes. So as I've mentioned before, Munduli lies in a very dry area. So it lies in the leeward side of Mount Meru. So it usually receives a very low amount of rainfall, around 79 to 80 or to 100 millimeters of rains average annually. So this is quite low. So we had to introduce drought-resistant crops and or vegetables. And one of these was chaya, or most of the time they call it tree spinach. So this vegetable or this plant is very rich in protein. It's very rich in vitamins, vitamin A, B. So this could supplement or could add value to what community members take. Other vegetables grown, nightshade. We have Ethiopian mustard, and we have Ethiopian mustard. We have Chinese cabbage. We have nightshade. So as our colleagues from the former presentation mentioned, one of the challenges that communities that reside in dry areas lack is minerals, and other groups of food, kinds of food, like vitamins, like minerals, like proteins. Because of this dry environment, they usually don't get these types of food from their surroundings. So initiating these gardens is helping much in ensuring that families do get these nutrients. And this is a continuation of pictures, and these were some of the installed gardens. And other vegetables that are very drought resistance that we encourage the community members to grow is the sweet potato vines. The sweet potato vines are nutritious, and they are highly resistant to drought. And one of the initiatives that we have been currently doing, so as you heard in the former presentation, we have a thing called Radical Reciprocity. So we have to include the community to be part of the process, the transformation process, the learning process, and the development process. So on the picture, you can see on your right, top right, we have initiated the raised bed gardens. Of course, this is a practice that is common in other areas, but we have found this to be very useful in the community. So it prevents livestock, even poultry, the chicken, from accessing the vegetables, especially when they are grown and when they are growing. And one of the things that we have also realized is that we need to use things like covering nets. So one thing about these dry communities, when these vegetables grow, especially during the dry season, they become the only source of green vegetation for most of the animals, the livestock, the domesticated livestock, but also the wild animals, and for this case, the birds. So in the dry season, when the vegetables are growing, birds usually come and feed on the growing vegetables. And sometimes when you irrigate the vegetables, birds come and destroy the vegetables, and they do sunbathing in the irrigated areas. So one of the measures that we use to actually block these damages from both domesticated and wild animals is the use of raised gardens and covering nets. And these have been observed to be working very good. So this is a continuation of gardens that were benefits, or the households and their gardens that were benefited from the project. And you can see one of the installed water retention point, a hafir, that is fully. So this actually collected water from rain. This is from the surface runoff. You can see how these hafirs can be very useful in dry areas. They can retain surface runoff water, and the water can be used in the dry season when water is scarce. So this part was to be taken by Mwalim Choti, and I don't think if he's around.
Yeah, he already left. Perhaps
Okay.
he will see you soon.
Yeah. So so last year, MSU received further funding. So Mwalimu Choti collaborated with the community to install other hafils, and they are actually currently doing very well. So these are additional pictures from the community and nearby areas. And you can see Mount Meru, that's the mountain in Arusha. And these other pictures were taken from one of the excursion trips that were done by study abroad students. And thank you for listening.
Well, thank you so much, Jonathan. I know the other Jonathan has left, but thank you so much for taking us through the community, the Maasai community, the Naitolia community in general, and also giving all the details about how the NGCE funds was incorporated in the work that is already happening in the community. So at this point, I'd like to invite those of us who are here to engage the speakers. At least the three of us are here. If you have a question, if you have a comment, you can raise it. You can raise your hand, you can type your question on the chat. So at this time, we open it up for discussion. Yeah, good job, Jonathan. Cheers. This is from Clarena. She's saying, good job, Jonathan. Cheers to an empowered community. Yes, we definitely agree with that. This is very, very, very impressive. All right. I don't see any other. Oh, of course, Clarena had said impressive projects. Well done, Damaris and Lelo. Thank you. And then, sure, I think that, oh, Jennifer, thank you, Jonathan, for the robust presentation, for sure. Thank you, Jennifer. So we can continue. I don't really think there's a question on the chat. If any of us has a question, maybe I can put the most pressing. Oh, question from Raymond. What's the most pressing challenge you are facing and how you navigated it? So Raymond, is this to do with currently or during the implementation of the projects? You can unmute yourself during the implementation. All right, so Raymond is asking, what was the most pressing challenge that we faced as partners or implementers of this project, and how did we navigate it? Thank you, Jennifer. And how did we navigate that? Who wants to go first? Lelo, Jonathan, anybody wants to go first?
I think I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay. So the most pressing challenge that we faced in the implementation, especially from the first implementation in 2022, so we had environmental challenges. So we implemented the project during the dry season. So we had to access water from a distance from the community in order to initiate the gardening process. But we learned from that challenge, and we actually rectified that in the previous year. So, and all the way into this year. So we have implemented the projects during the dry season. So we didn't have to buy water and things like that. So that is one of the things. But another thing, as you saw in my presentation, we had the topography, the land structure. So as I've mentioned before, as soon as you dig a few meters into the ground, you find very tough rocks. And this was actually handled by the community. So you can see how the community members are committed to these projects. It was extremely tiresome, but they did their job very well. They did their part very well. And actually, we have some good results, as you saw there. So these are the two main challenges that I saw, and we're actually learning from them. Of course, from the first challenge, we can learn and adapt, like implementing the project during the dry season. But other environmental challenges like the rocky structure and things like that, we will have to, to think about even more efficient tools, maybe in the coming projects, to equip community members with the appropriate tools in order to, facilitate, taking off the rocks and things like that. So those are the challenges, and we are currently learning a lot from and adapting significantly to them. Thank you. I think I've answered very well.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Jonathan. I don't know if Lelo is still here, but on my part, she might have another perspective. But on my part, I really would say this is one of the projects that I've been a part of that I can't even really think of a challenge. It's surprising. It's because, one, we had the buy-in of the community in the beginning. That's why I really appreciate the idea of radical reciprocity. Especially if you're working with the communities, because when you give the communities the authority to lead a project, because they know their environment very well, they know what the needs are, especially, it goes smooth. Because I think most of the time when we see these challenges between the implementation between the partners and the implementation process, it's when, for the most part, one has an authority over the other. But if you're really intentional about making this fair, not equal, but fair, in a way that the expertise of both ends is valued and recognized, I really think it goes smooth. And Lelo might say something, but on my end, as a person that was at Michigan State University working or facilitating the implementation from here virtually, I would say that it was very impressive to me. Like, I really loved being part of that project, just because Lelo was a part of the community, and I had worked with her, had interacted with her here. So there was nothing to learn. I didn't have so much to learn, because Kayo Waka Women Group was there, already established, already know the needs of the community, already invested in making their community better. So Lelo, I don't know what you have to say.
Okay, the only challenge that we had was network problem.
Yes. Thank you. I agree. See, I didn't even count that as a challenge, because I forgot about it. When something is not right, especially in terms of what you purpose to do, then it's something that you can remember. See, Lelo, thank you so much. We had really a challenge with the internet, but it at the end worked, because I think we were both determined. The community was also very invested in the project. Thank you for that. Oh, there was a question by Clarena. Just wondering, how can the public be made aware of these success stories to reach a wider audience and possibly access additional funding? Do you post online? Where? So I think for the Jonathan's part of the project, they were publicized. I think we need to do a better job, for sure, because the College of Arts and Letters wrote a story that highlighted their project, but the African Studies Center, mine and Lelo Adano, was not well publicized. That's a good thing, in fact, to point out, Clarena. So when we were funded for this program, we said we'll find ways of sharing the outcome with the wider audience. So tea time is one, but as you can see, it's not the very best time of the semester. Everybody's busy. Raymond can attest to that, especially the students and faculty. But another good part is this will be recorded. So this will be on our YouTube channel. That's how we felt like at least something that is there to stay for those people that were not here. Some of them, we had like 27 people sign up to attend, but you can see the attendance was not that good. So we are going to share this recording with everybody. And I think that's the one blessing that COVID came with. I'm sorry to say, and it shouldn't be negative, is that even the universities had to devise ways of engaging a wider population. We never used to have tea time virtually. We never used to have speakers from elsewhere. It used to be students, faculty members, community members within. So kind of it's helping us, Clarena, to publicize, but also it's a good thing to remember to find opportunities to share more within and elsewhere. If you know where these presentations can make impact, just let us know. We'll be happy to present. Lelo?
Yes.
Did you have something?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. All right. Any other questions, comments before we wrap this up? Oh, thank you so much. Oh, and Clarena, in fact, Clarena, you can introduce yourself. Raymond too, just so people know who you are and how did you end up here in this tea time presentation?
Thank you, Damaris. Long time. Hi,
Long
everyone. My name is Clarena, and I'm so happy to be here and just to get to hear from the very successful projects that you guys are doing. And I didn't know about this until Lelo contacted me, and I was like, when did you guys do this? And she's like, last year. And I'm like, no, like, I haven't been seeing it anywhere. I mean, you've done so good, and it's already passed, and I wasn't even aware of it. But all in all, I'm happy, and thank you for the support that you're doing to the communities, both in Kenya and Tanzania. We need you guys, and yeah, I'm so happy because I truly relate to all these activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Clarena. We need to discuss more. You never know. How, as I said, networks do magic. They really do. You never know where connecting with somebody that you didn't even think you will continue building the relationships can take you. So, and Clarena, you were also a PFP fellow. You didn't say that. Awesome.
Yes. I was also a professional fellowship programs fellow back in 2019. So yeah, that's how I met Damaris and the team. Yeah, and happy to see Raymond and Lelo on call, and Jonathan. Nice to meet you.
There you go. Thank you so much, Clarena.
Nice to meet you too.
Raymond, you seem to have had your camera on, so you have to say something.
Yes, I just wanted to also add my voice to what Clarena has said. Thank you for the incredible work that you've been involved in. Just like Clarena and Lelo, I'm also an alumna of a US exchange program, only that I think for me, MSU happened to have me tagged along beyond the exchange program, so I returned here for my MBA studies. But it's always a good pleasure to catch up with everyone here. So I'm very delighted, and would love to get a copy of the report if it's there, just for purposes of learning from your experiences and how you managed to navigate all those challenges. I'm very, very delighted to be here, and thank you for having us in the audience.
So much, Raymond. And just to add to that, we have already had out of the networks with the professional fellows, we also had a very, very successful project that Raymond and I were co-PIs on, that was based in Uganda for the Michigan. See, I'm now forgetting, Raymond. Michigan Fellows.
Africa Initiatives, yes. Yeah.
Initiative. Yes. So honestly, I believe in networks. But so there's Alex Seritano trying to join. So any more comments before we can wrap up and leave? Because I know some of you, Jonathan and Lelo and Clarena, need to retire to bed for sure. And thank you for the sacrifice to be here.
Thank you.
All right, I really think then we will end it here. And as I said in the beginning, the African Tea Time is one of the series of events that are hosted by the African Studies Center here at Michigan State University. And this was our last one for just this semester, because Tea Time is held during the regular semesters. That's spring, let's say from September to May. So we're done with the 2 semesters. We're heading to the summer, and we don't offer we don't do programming over the summer because majority of the people either travel for study abroad or take breaks, take vacations. So during the regular semesters is when we have tea time, and we'll come back again in September. That's when we usually have our first event of the year, and we will communicate. We want to have you back, even when you're presenting or not. We want to have you engaged with our tea time series when your time allows, that is, because we're cognizant of the fact that some of you are really joining at a late time. That's why recording makes it easier and also beneficial for those that are not able to make it. So thank you so much, everybody. Look forward to seeing you again or communicating with you again. And have a good night, Jonathan and Lilo and Clarena, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.